Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And today I would like to bring to you the readings for the month of July for the fire elemental energy, which covers the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you are one of those signs, then this reading is for you. Or if you have fire in your charts, if you've had your charts done, then this reading is for you as well. Take the messages that resonate with you. You can leave the rest of them. Any of the decks that I am using will be linked in the description below if you're interested in those. I read intuitively, so the messages that come through may not be exactly what the cards say. If there's a message on the card, I will read that as well, but I tend to let my guides bring through the messages that they need or want you to hear. So, we have 4 weeks or so in July, so we'll just go ahead and just work the 4 weeks. There's 2 days in a 5th week, but we will worry about that one later. So, I read the message... Sorry, the way I read is I read a guide or guardian, a message from source, and then a lesson or a challenge for the tarot through the weeks. So we've got 4 weeks. So we'll be doing 4 sets of those. And this quarter, July starts a new quarter for my card cycle. So I was going to try something new. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it in the description. But I want to do the I-ching reading at the beginning, and then we will go through the tarot. So I cast the hexagram earlier so that I wouldn't have to spend 20 minutes doing it here. And so your hexagram for the month of July fire energy is number 43, and it is resolution. The text is, when a proclamation is made at the court of the king, frankness in revealing the true state of affairs is dangerous. In making announcements to the people of his own city, it is not fitting for the ruler to carry arms. It's favorable to have in view some goal or destination. So that's the blanket definition. The commentary, how this particular author has interpreted, is resolution implies determination, that is to say, the strong determine the affairs of the weak, combining strength with cheerfulness and resolution with peacefulness. The proclamation at the king's court is indicated by the single yielding line above the 5 firm ones. And if you need a reminder, there's one at the top that's got a hole in it. That's the yielding line. The danger of speaking frankly is nevertheless a glorious danger. Bearing arms while making announcements to the people of his own city would forfeit their respect. In being favorable to have an object in its indicated... It's being favorable to have an objective is indicated by the fact that the firm, after proceeding, exceedingly comes to an end at the top. Basically, what we're looking at is walk quietly but carry a big stick, but not so much make it obvious, is what they're implying here. Each of the lines has a different definition, so we'll go through those just so that we can have kind of an idea of what this one means for fire this month, and then we'll go into the cards. The bottom is where you start reading I-ching, so it's this bottom line, and then we'll work up from there. So your bottom line is to set out with a great show of strength, advance, but win no success is shameful. This illustrates the shame involved in taking on something and then failing. So basically, if you're going to do something, do it with everything that's in you so that you can succeed or at least come out even. The next line is, though distributed by cries in the night, he who is armed knows no fear. So you want to make sure you're prepared for what you got working, what's coming up here. Strength, this is your third line. Strength in the cheekbones, misfortune, the superior man is firmly determined, but while walking alone in the rain, he is irked by mud. He is not to blame for this. Basically, If as long as you're sticking true to yourself and you're being aligned with your source, other people might not like what you're doing, but you're on the right path. The fourth line, his haunches have been flayed, and he walks falteringly, though he could put an end to this shame by allowing himself to be dragged along in the deep. Moreover, he puts no faith in the words of others. So, it may not be the most stable path, is what they're saying, but it's something that stay focused on the end goal here and make sure that you are firm in your belief that you're doing the right thing, in alignment with your higher self and with the course that you have chosen. The fifth line, with the tenacity of spinach clinging to earth, he blamelessly steers a middle course. So, what this is saying is no matter what's going on, you're going the right direction, and it may not look that great to the outside world, but you're staying true to what your heart is driving you towards. And the top line, in the end, misfortune will come without a warning, and it's just that's more of a heads up that if you start to veer from your chosen course, your chosen path in life, I've got too many things just piled here, that's when you start ending up in the problem zones. So you want to make sure that when you are stepping out this next month in July, that you know where you're at, you have the tools at your disposal. That's the one thing that they're being pretty clear on. But you definitely want to be ready for pretty much everything that's coming, even if it looks a little awkward to other people. That really doesn't matter. It's the fact that staying true to your goals, keeping those goals in mind, is what your the end game is for you. So really, if you haven't fine-tuned your vision boards for the rest of the year or your intentions, working on that the first part of the month and then sticking to that for the rest of the month is what your I-ching hexagram was saying. Now on to, mic's all weird, the tarot and oracle. Your first card, your guide or guardian for this first week, is the Ascended Master Lao Tzu and Zinc-site, Descending Power. Oh, there we go. The drive to manifest my spiritual light is powerful and purposeful. Divine light is awakening in my body now. The creative fire in my soul shines into this world, bringing light and warmth to all hearts. I choose to live my soul wisdom in simple, practical ways. I utilize my intention to become grounded and present, increasing my inner radiance. I apply my spiritual principles to all aspects of my life, and my soul aspirations are realized. So working with the Ascended Master Lao Tzu and Zinc-site, this first week of July is what they're talking about is finding your balance. Bringing yourself into that aligned state that allows that radiant inner fire to shine forth, fire energy. And you guys tend to burn really hot anyway, and this is just a way to bring it into balance, so it's not just an inferno, it's a controlled blaze. It's like a candle versus a wildfire. So you really want to bring yourself into that aligned state so that you can blaze the right way and not scare other people off, but you're finding balance. And Lao Tzu's belief was finding balance in the nature of the creature, or of nature itself. And that means you wouldn't push a cart sideways. You would pull it up according to its wheels. And that's what you're working with in this energy, is really starting to align yourself into a more balanced state. And Lao Tzu and Zinc-site are a good way to start finding that balance the first part of the month here. Your message from Source is the blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, and integration. Really taking the time this month to meditate, or this first week especially, to meditate, to ground, to work with your guides and guardians. This week in particular, work with the Ascended Master Lao Tzu, and tap into that blue flame. The blue flame burns away the slag, the dross, the things that aren't working for you. You are a fire elemental energy. Your energy tends to burn brightest when it's burning clean, and a purely clean flame will be clear or, intense blue. Sometimes, most not all the time, but that's what they're saying right now for this one, is really focus on burning away the stuff that's not working so that you can shine that purest light, that powerful blue flame that can help you awaken yourself. But they're also saying that by you being the most brilliant aspect of who you are, you're going to help other people awaken and step forward into their divine light as well. Let's look at your lesson or challenge from the tarot. We have the Knight of Water, emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, and contemplative. Falling in love or wedding proposals, the need to balance emotions, and invitation to social events. So this first week for the guide or for your lesson or challenge is really working on that balance. Again, they're re-emphasizing that, and they're also saying that your emotional balance is something that you need to be aware of. Maybe bring them forward so that you can actually feel your emotions, because they're saying there's something being hidden with your emotions. Maybe it's a repression, or maybe it's something that you have closed a door on, thinking, oh, I don't need to feel that way anymore. This card is saying, don't hide the emotional state. There's times and places that's where the emotional balance comes in, but acknowledge your emotions and work through them, and that's going to help you possibly bring in this first week a little bit of a romantic connection, they're saying, or at least a new friendship that could blossom into something more. So let's look at the second week. Your guide or guardian is the Ascended Master Lady Nada and Rhodochrosite. Sensitivity. So we got a little bit of gentility coming through here. My devoted heart is a willing, conscious, clear channel for spiritual grace. My growing sensitivity empowers me to experience the loving presence of the divine and become a living light with tremendous compassion. My sensitivity will increase in perfect harmony with my ability to process subtle energies and generate a protective field of spiritual light around me. I claim the space that I need to process my experiences and thrive. I trust what I sense and respond with wisdom. It is safe and wild and startling and beautiful to be a sensitive soul with a higher awareness. So this ties into your lesson or challenge from the first week, because this is really talking about your emotions, bringing them forward, working with them, but working with your emotions from the position of the heart. The heart is the balancing point of the chakra system. There's 3 above the heart, there's 3 below the heart in the physical body. There's a few more outside, but we're going to talk about those. And so in the first week, you're working on bringing up that blue flame, you're finding a balance, and you're starting to acknowledge that you have to balance your emotions with your everyday life. The second week is bringing those emotions into your heart so that you can heal them, so that you can work through them. Working with Lady Nada and Rhodochrosite is a good way to help you understand the heart a little bit better, and also allow you to acknowledge those emotions, even the negative ones, from a point of compassion so that you can see what they're there for, because our emotions are tools, and they're also warning signs at times. So if there's something really negative popping up, it could be stating that this is an area that you might want to pay more attention to in your meditations and your healing work, just to realign it and readjust it a little bit. It doesn't really matter what emotion they're saying. They all have a purpose and a function. It's when they're imbalanced that it becomes something that is disastrous or destructive. So you want to make sure that you're in a more balanced state when you're looking at the less than positive emotional states, because that way you're not judging yourself too harshly. It's all about healing and growth. And you kind of have to look at the dark side to be able to process some of it. Your message from Source is, you've got the love, Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries. So your message from Source is saying you're working with your emotions. You're trying to understand how to process those less than stellar emotions, those less than great emotions, anger, depression, anxiety, frustration, all of those less than positive in how we view things. But it's saying no matter what's going on in that department, the love that radiates from the heart of the Creator, which also stimulates and radiates from your heart as well, is what's important here. Codependency on the divine, keeping open communication where you're building a relationship. It's not really a codependent thing, but building that relationship so that you don't feel fear or worry or guilt or something from going to the heart of the divine is what you're working on this week. They're also saying that finding someone within your life that you can talk to and be vulnerable with is going to help bond you with another person. But set your boundaries. The boundaries part is knowing when, okay, this is where you come to and you stay over there. This is my area. And that could be boundaries on time. That could be boundaries on personal space. Boundaries on emotional space, like you're not going to take on someone else's nonsense, but you're also not going to project your own. If you're working with someone trying to help understand what's going on in your head, then you know when to take your energy back when you leave that session so that you can work through the process yourself and you're not just ditching it off on somebody else. So let's look at your lesson or challenge from the tarot. And if you haven't noticed yet, I don't read reversals because I find that you can get the information just fine through uprights. I know some people like to do reversals, and that's fine for them. I think I just dumped a bunch of pens on the floor. It's just not something that I resonate with. So the Ace of Air is your lesson or challenge. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation and a challenging new beginning. So you're starting down a new path with the healing that's been going on, and that's opening some doors. The Ace of Air is saying, use your intellect, use your knowledge, wisdom, which is knowledge plus experience, to access the next level. The first week you were finding balance. This week is really about working through your personal, any emotional stuff that's coming up, good or bad, and really understanding that you are connected to the heart of the Creator through your heart chakra as well, because the Ace of Air is giving you the foreshadowing that there's something new coming up, that you have something new to experience, and now it's time for you to use your wisdom, which is knowledge plus experience, to take the next steps down this new path, because you have a couple of options. They're not saying exactly what. They're saying one is a business option or a work option, possibly promotion. And if you're a single person, they're saying that there's some relationship options that are popping up coming forward in the rest of this month. So something to think about. Let's look at your third week's energy for fire sign and fire elemental energy, guide or guardian. Okay, this deck's usually pretty talkative and it's not wanting to talk today. We're looking for a guide or guardian for the third week of July for fire. Okay, we have the goddess Lakshmi and dendritic agate, her golden grace. So, enlightenment, prosperity, goodness, and grace flow through and around me. It is as though my soul dances in soft golden honey-like energy, abundant with nourishment and healing properties. Through her gentleness, the goddess offers my soul an irresistible invitation to receive her blessings and emanate the beauty of the divine. There is a gentler way through which I make even greater spiritual progress. I joyfully and peacefully accept this path and allow my heart to let go. So, your first week was balancing, your second week was reconnecting and kind of working through your emotions. This third week is going to be more about the healing process. This is the self-care. After you've recovered from an illness, you generally want to just relax and kind of chill out for a minute, even if it's for just an evening, a day, sometimes depending on what it was you were recovering from. And so this card is saying, this is the time for your recovery. The balancing part may not have been too difficult. Working through emotions can get heavy, And this card is saying you don't have to do it all at once. Work through what you can and do self-care afterwards so that you can recover. So it's not a heavy process. It's not a process where you have to suffer and struggle and, oh, I have to do all this healing work right now. No. The dendritic opal or agate and the goddess Lakshmi are saying, you've done some, take a break. And as you're taking that break, you're integrating the healing. Then that allows you to work through the next process. And each time you do that, the process of healing moves into a different state. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's deeper. But taking those little breaks, just kind of after you've went through one of those healing situations, allows your body to settle down, allows you to take some rest and peace, and then allows you to move into the next phase of healing, feeling more refreshed versus, I have to do this some more. Great. And your message from Source is loosen your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, and letting God in. This is working with that energy from Lakshmi as well, where you can do all the work in the world. There's times you have to let it go. So you've done your process, and this week is the healing and relaxing process. The recovery period is not active, it's passive. So you're letting it go. You're just, I've done some work. I've done the work that I needed to do, whatever that was. I am preparing for the next steps in my life, because you have the Ace of Air for the second week. So you're getting ready for the next phase. But in this moment, allow life to just be. So this third week is more about just taking that deep breath and relaxing, going with the flow. And I love how this card, letting go, so you're falling through space. But there's not a bottom. Notice there's nothing down below. So you're kind of just floating. You're just being carried by the air, the waves of air. And that's what this is about, is just allow yourself to be in this third week. If something comes up, handle it. Do what you need to do. But then take the time to recover. Really work on, if you don't do this normally, take a little time for some self-care. Whether that is going out to dinner, taking a nice soothing bath, getting a massage. That would actually probably be a good idea if you can justify that. But really this third week is about self-care and relaxation. So let's see what the tarot has to say for a lesson or a challenge in this third week. Helps if I turn the card around. Can't read much from that side. The Eight of Water, a desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. So as you've been growing and seeking and searching, this is saying you don't always have to do everything at this moment. You have that urge to move forward, but this week is about understanding that urge, acknowledging it, and letting it go. Because it's going to be there. Like when you're done recovering from what you've been doing, whether that's intensive or minor, the desire's still going to be there. So just, this is that reminder to just take the break. And if you're looking for something more meaningful, what is it that you feel like you're lacking? So journal entries, things like that, just kind of give yourself that little prompt at the top of the page. What do I feel I am lacking in life, in work, in relationships, whichever heading feels the best? And then kind of journal that out is what they're saying. And this isn't really a challenge. It's more of a lesson of beginning to understand what it is you're looking for. Because you can look for a lot of things, but is it stuff that's beneficial? Is it something that your heart, soul, mind desires? But sitting down and working on that journaling prompts, just kind of getting yourself more aligned, is what the lesson is for this third week. Your guide or guardian for the fourth week is the goddess Rhiannon, and the stone is Amazonite. This is your integrity speaking. I listen deeply for the truth of my heart. I create harmony between my intentions, my words, and my actions. I make promises that honor my soul based on the wisdom of my heart. I make decisions with courage and boldness. I act with respect for spiritual wisdom. I recognize the power within me, which I surrender into inspired service for greater good. I have the strength of character I need to live with integrity and my own heart. I emanate peace and grace. So this fourth week is really about saying what you mean and following through. You have Amazonite and the goddess Rhiannon to help you and support you. That's the reason in the third week it was kind of letting go and relaxing, recovering, kind of a reset period, because this fourth week is going to be stepping forward with that new awareness, that new knowledge that you've gained from finding a balance, working through the healing process a little bit. We're always going to be healing, so that's a part of that. But you have something new coming in. The lesson from the second week was talking about a new beginning starting, and then your lesson from the third week was figuring out what direction you want to go and what knowledge you're searching for, or what is it you feel you're lacking in life. Because this fourth week is really is coming forward to say, this is where the truth comes out. You've done the work, you kind of looked at what you're lacking, and now in this fourth week, it's stepping forward and saying, this is what I need, this is where I'm at in life, and this is where I'm heading. Now, you can change your mind. These directions are not locked in. They're locked in as far as you wish them to be, because you can change your mind the first part of August if you choose. But this fourth week is really about setting those intentions and moving yourself into that higher frequency, that higher state, or onto that new pathway with a more clear vision as to what it is you're wanting to create. So you have your message from Source is the weight of the world. Boundaries, again, letting go, and it's not yours to carry. So you're working on building integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking, speaking truth from the heart and not the truth someone wants to hear. Not pretty words, not little white lies. You're being upfront and honest, but you're doing it in a gentle way. As you're stepping forward, as you're starting something new, trust me on this one, there's going to be people who are going to try to step in and be like, you don't want to do that. They're going to try to push you out of your alignment. Integrity is sticking with something that you know is to be true, unless something shows you that it's not, and is another part of that. But you don't have to carry the weight of the world. That other person's expectations are theirs. Pick it up, hand it back to them. It's not your problem. Let it go. And understand the boundaries. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. I've done my research. I've done my meditations. This is the right path for me in this moment. Thank you for your advice. I'm going to keep moving. A lot of people are well-intentioned is what the message that's coming through is, and that means that they want to do the right thing, but if it feels cumbersome, if it feels burdensome, it's not something that's probably going to be beneficial. Examine what they're saying. Don't ignore them. Look at what they're saying. Does it resonate? Does it align with what your goals are? If it doesn't, and like it doesn't make any sense, like you're trying to redirect me into something that makes no sense to me, shrug it off, let it go. Because when you look at the picture, she's floating in water. What do you do when you stand up from the water? It sheets off. You're letting it go. You're not carrying someone else's expectations. The only expectations are your own and your alignment with Source. So keep that in mind as you're starting this new beginning that's coming forward, this new energy that's came up in the second week, that's manifesting in this fourth week. Just be aware that your boundaries are also on expectations. Your expectations for you are what matter, not what other people think you should be. I mean, there's people who will tell you and expect, well, you should be fill in the blank and white picket house and 2.5 kids and 3 dogs, but does that align with your goals? Does that align with your heart? Does that align with what you feel your mission is? If the answer is no, then that expectation goes back to them. Boundary goes up. You keep it over there. I don't need it. So your lesson or challenge for this fourth week is the 9 of Air, expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, sleepless nights. This is why we have our boundaries. We don't need the stress, the frustration, that if I don't do what so-and-so says, the worst possible thing that could happen is fill in the blank. The worst possible scenario in most cases is you're going to trip and fall and fail. There's a little bit of good news that comes along with that. Get up. Start over. It's not a big deal. It's going to be frustrating in the moment. It's going to be angry. You may have some sleepless nights in there. But in the reality of life, you have the right, you have the gift. It is a God, Spirit, Divine Source granted gift to start over. We were made to create. We create heaven, we create hell. What is it you're trying to create? The Nine of Air is saying things, if you let other people's beliefs, thoughts, concepts, and their agreements with their guides come in, it's going to make your life rough. You're going to have those sleepless nights. The self-fulfilling prophecy of, well, if I don't listen to George, I'm going to fall. No, if you listen to George, you're going to fail that expectation. What are yours? The boundaries that you need to set are, I can look at someone else's opinion, and that's all I have to do. I do not have to integrate it. If it works, then I'll take the part that works. If it doesn't, then it stays over there. But that's what this Nine of Air energy is giving you the heads up that you're starting something new, something beautiful, something that is aligned with what your heart's desires, goals, your God source energy is helping you. And the Nine of Air is saying, be aware that your boundaries that you have set are for your benefit, not for your detriment. So as long as you're making your boundaries in alignment with the divine principles. With that, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe if you're new here. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, or even constructive criticism, as long as we're respectful, you can leave that in the comment section down below. And let me know what you think of using the I-ching at the beginning or somewhere in the readings for the monthly readings. Something a little bit different. I think I'll try it for this quarter, July, August, September, and see what the feedback is. If you guys like it, I'll keep doing it. With that, I will let you guys go. Have an awesome month of July, and see you in the next video.